Sorry, I was jam into the music. Just jam into the music, as we do. Let me make sure that we're good. Yes. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 everybody. So good to have you guys here. We'll talk in a minute. You know how we do it. I stall Lisa for the first, couple minutes, let everybody get in here. I say hello to everybody, like so.
Yeah, romper style.
Romper bumper stomper boo. Tell me, man. They never said my name, Lisa. Never. Never did they ever say, hi, we see Elias. No. Damn lady. Anyway, hello, Amber and Lee Michael, psychic medium. Hello, good to see you, Lee. And guys, Lee is on, why do I always do this, Lee? You're on Tuesdays, is that correct? Tuesdays. Please follow Lee. Hi, Anne, good to see you. Maria and Priscilla, hello, hello, hello. Our moderator for the evening, Charlene, hello. Hi, Lisa. Getting ready to leave on vacation. Lisa, Nicole Chan. Cindy, hello. Jerry, hello. Jody, hello. Thank you very much. Diane, hello. James Butler, hello, James. Jody Jones, hello. Laura, good to see you, Laura. Good to see your picture, Laura. So good to see you. A lot of my TikTok people. Brenda, hello. Janelle, hello. Good to see you. And Kristen, and Tuesdays at 7. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure. And Kim, hi, Kim. I'm so excited for tonight, too. I can't even tell you. Sherry, hello. I'm excited for this, too. Thanks, Sherry. Thanks for being here, everybody. Hi, Karen. Guys, if I miss you, please know it's not intentional. It's StreamYard. It just goes quick. And Abby, hello. Stephanie, hello. Thank you for being here. Welcome, 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 everybody. Gigi, good to see you. Hi, Gail. Gail, you guys, is also one of the authors, wait for it, in Own Your Awesome. So thank you for being here. So good to see you. And you guys were in a book together, weren't you?
Yeah, we were in two, Inspirations and Manifestations, I believe.
Okay. I knew there was, I made the click.
Yeah.
Dr. O'Connor, oh my God, so good to have you on here. Guys, you all remember Dr. Stephen O'Connor? He is the, we should talk, Lisa, with Dr. O'Connor. Dr. O'Connor has a place in Ecuador.
Ooh.
Just saying, just
Okay.
saying. And Mo, good to see you. And Delora, whoa! No, thank you for that. Okay. And Gail says hello to you. Stephanie, hello. All right, guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so excited about tonight because I have to tell you guys, this is not an area that I am super familiar with. It's an area that I could touch upon past life stuff, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm so excited. Hey, Brenda, I'm so excited. And Deanna, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to have Lisa on. Now, I have to tell you, Lisa is a best-selling author, you guys. She has written Sacred Soul Love, Manifesting True Love and Happiness by Revealing and Healing Blockages and Limitations. Sacred Soul Spaces, Designing Your Personal Oasis. And she was also featured, you guys, in Aspire magazine. She is a virtual teacher. She's been with me. This is how we know each other, through Celebrate Your Life. And she's done stuff for Quantum Miracles Mastery and One Heart, One Earth Global Awakening. She's got a lot. She went to University of Chicago, you guys. She's smart. She be very smart. She's very smart. And are we going to talk about the inflatable alien in the room? I don't know, Delora, do you feel called? Do you think that's one of your spirit animals? Inflatable alien? I'm just kidding. Now, is this your correct? Oh, Michelle O'Connor. Hello. Not Dr. O'Connor, but Michelle as well. Thank you for being here. Now, is this the correct?
Yes.
You're correct.
That is
Mystic Manta.
Mystic Manta.
One way.
Like
Mystic Manta.
Mm-hmm.
Like a manta ray. Because Lisa is in Hawaii, you guys. Mm-hmm. She's in Hawaii. And she does women's retreats in Hawaii as well. So Lisa and I met each other through CYL. We were both part of the Celebrate Your Life Soul Fest, and that was a blast.
Yeah.
55 people. That was just, I mean, like the big speakers, and us,
Right.
and us, and us.
It helped.
Soon to be big speakers. So it's just an honor to have you here. Now, anything that I missed out? I know a new book is coming out, guys. New book. And I didn't know this about, there it is, Connection to the Cosmos. Super cool. Remembering your galactic heritage.
And embracing
that.
your oneness.
And embracing your oneness?
Yeah.
Awesome. Priscilla says, is there something else you would like me to post? Just let me know, Lisa.
Okay. Thank you, Priscilla.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. And I wanted to, find out a little bit more. How did you get into all this, first of all? Let's go from there.
Okay. So I grew up in a metaphysical household my whole life. So my mother, in my early years, she was an astrologer. So she would take me to her astrology classes at night. All her friends were psychics, tarot card readers, astrologers, witches. And then when I was 13, we moved from Oklahoma City to Yelm, Washington, where we were attending the Ramtha School of Enlightenment. This is back in 1986. And just as an aside, because you would know Dr. Joe Dispenza, he was in the school. So I've known him since I was 13. He was actually a chiropractor. So just a little history there. But at the Ramtha school, Ramtha is a channeled entity that speaks through a lady named Jay-Z Knight. And so that's where I first learned like how to create your reality, that we are really all one. We are all God. We all have that inside of us. But then, I went like for my career, I was obsessed about animals. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to go become a marine biologist. And so I had this spiritual side, but then I also had this really geeky science side. And I thought that would be a really practical way to go about life. So I went to the Evergreen State College, got my marine biology degree, and then went to University of Chicago for grad school. But then mainstream science really, especially the world that I was in, the really high power academia, didn't support my spiritual side at all. And I had been having galactic experiences my whole life. I have been in spacecraft. I've just had this connection, and I would tell some of my friends about it, and they would just think I was crazy. So I stopped talking about it for the most part. I ended up leaving academia, and then I had really mainstream careers in mortgage, and then I was an interior designer and home stager for 12 years. I had a business doing that. But I had this calling. I actually had a scientific hand analysis done probably 8 years ago. And she did my hands and my kids' hands. And one of the big things that came out of that was that we have a marking here on our palm that's a 1% marking. And it indicates someone who's meant to be on the path of being a spiritual teacher or healer. And at this point, I was very successful in my design company. And I'm like, me, a spiritual teacher? Like, I don't even know what I would teach. And so, but I let it percolate. And she also said that I had to walk that path for my kids to be able to walk that path. Basically, I had to open that door for them. And so I just waited. And it was a couple years later that I went to my first CYL event. It was the International Women's Summit, actually. And I met Denise Lynn, I met Sunny Dawn Johnston, and got to experience some of the others like Colette Baron-Reed. And as soon as I got out of the breakout session with Denise, I had this major aha, like, okay, this is the first step I'm supposed to take in the spiritual journey of working in this field, not just doing it for myself, but working in it. So a month later, I was at Denise's house getting trained in past life regression therapy. And I started Mystic Manta. Yeah. And then from there, I had a human design coach that I was working with. And at some point, she offered to teach me and some other women how to do human design for our clients. And so I added that modality on, and it just kept snowballing. And so it wasn't until I moved here to Hawaii almost 2 years ago that I felt like I could actually fully step into this full power of the galactic side of myself, because I didn't have to wear any masks anymore. There weren't people that I had to be normal for in my other careers. And I could just, really come out of the closet, the proverbial closet, and just show up in this form, and this is Celestia, the purple alien.
Celestia. Okay.
Yeah.
Delora, did you hear that? Celestia.
I have a blue one and a green one, but they are in the car getting ready to work tonight on a UFO tour. So that's Uluru and Al Ian.
And, Gail says CYL is a great place to meet like-minded people. Yes. It truly is. Truly is. Hey, Ginger. Guys, Ginger Parrot, Healing Heart Medium. Please follow my friend Ginger. She'll be on tomorrow at 6:30 on her Facebook page. So Dolores said she's in love. Be careful. Dolores known. She creeps. She'll fly to Hawaii and she will take Celestia from you. She will. She's known. She's already got like her hands on some of my ties that she loves. So she's known for that. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I can't agree with you more, Gail. It is, meeting Denise was, when I was an attendee, it was cool. But then when I sat at the speaker's table and I'm like,
yeah,
she's fascinating to me. She's just, her and Sunny and all of them. I felt like a kindergarten person I was across from Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm like, here's an Italian and a Greek. And I'm like, and we're shouting from across the table. I'm like, it's hysterical. Anyway, you also, because I want to let people know this, you also have Oracle decks, which I didn't know you have. How many do you have?
I have 8 different themed decks. Yeah.
And these are all on your website?
Mm-hmm. They are. So at mysticmanta.com, I have a shop on there. So you just click on shop. And
love it. All right. So guys, this whole month has been about communication. And when I told Lisa originally about this, I'm like, we're doing communication. She's like, okay. I'm like, oh, Galactic Communication. I love it. So tell us in your expertise, how do we communicate that way? And what is it all about? Because I believe too that there's, it's such a big cosmic world. We cannot be the only ones here.
Right. Well, and so let's first start talking about the different dimensions, because I think that's really important. Because I think, one of the things that I do as part of my business is I lead nightly UFO tour, night sky watch. And we have just regular people, tourists coming on the tours. And they're always asking, okay, well, I hear about these negative aliens. And so I really want to start there, like what an alien is, what an ET is. And so we have different races, different beings residing in different dimensions. So there are beings that are highly technological that actually are 3rd and 4th dimensional, like we are as Earth humans. And anytime that you are still residing in 3rd and 4th dimension, you are polarized. That's just the law of the universe. So when we talk about negative aliens, we're talking more about like service to self. And just like with humans, there are some humans that definitely are service to others, are very kind-hearted, loving. And then there are humans that really are not that way, right? So same with some of these different races. But they are the minority compared to what exists 5th dimension and higher. And these are higher dimensional beings that there is no more polarity. Everything is love and unity. And so when you're connecting with these beings, like for me, I always raise my vibration because I only want to be connecting with the higher vibration entity. Because there are people that channel some of these lower vibe ones. So you really need to be careful like what the messaging is. So if there's anything fear-based whatsoever, then that is a lower vibration frequency being coming through that person. Now, we all have this ability to connect. We all do. And how, so I was taken on a craft when I was 15, a conscious memory. And that communication was through telepathy. And that was a group that probably is more fourth dimensional. They're not quite fifth dimensional because they were more physical reality. And they're very neutral in terms of their energy. But 4 years ago, I met my Arcturian family, and that was done in a meditative journey. I was taking a psychic intuition class, and my teacher, Lisa, she led us through this journey to meet a spirit guide that would help us get extra information that, you know, in the psychic realm from what we could normally get. Now, I've done a lot of those journeys and met a lot of spirit guides, but I had never had an experience like what I had. I went to a completely different realm, and the most beautiful blue beings were in front of me, a group of them. And there was one that was a little more to the front, who was the spokesperson. And so blue, bald heads, big eyes, really skinny bodies. And I didn't know who they were at that time. But the message to me was, you are one of us, we are one of you, we are family. And so then we were supposed to ask for a name if they had a name. And so the name that was given to me was Uluru. So Uluru, my blue alien that's in the car, that he's named after that. And so for the last 4 years, I've been deepening that connection and been able to really, like, most of the interactions that we can have with them is when we go deep within into a higher theta or delta state, brainwave state, because that is where our vibration is much higher. And then we can actually connect telepathically and be in those different realms. And they're always there for us. So you just have to invite them in, because we have free will here on Earth. So
I think that's fascinating. I think it's, you know, because we talk about, in this work, we talk about spirit guides, angels, higher level spirit guides. So would you say that falls into that realm? About
yeah.
the truth?
Yeah, so the different groups, so, you know, some of the common ones that people are familiar with are the Pleiadians, the Mantis beings, the Zetas, the Arcturians. And so they are all multi-dimensional beings, and they all have their own different frequency or energy resonance. Now, the Arcturians, they are known to be very much higher dimensional beings, like, and they feel very angelic. So if Lee is on here still, Lee and I, we did a session together, and he actually, you know, he's been able to do medium work with angels. But then when my Arcturians came in, he was like, oh, they feel very angelic, but there was a slight difference in that energy. And they are known to carry that Buddha Christ consciousness as well. So
I love that. I love that. Now, James said something. I don't know, James, if you were just talking about Orion group, or you were commenting, or you had a question about it. So,
okay. Well, and that's another, that's, you know, and so some of these constellations, like the Orion Constellation, there are probably at least 10,000 intelligent different races in that constellation that come in different forms. So some of them look very humanoid, some look like grays, some look like reptilians, you know, all different, some look like mantis or other insectoids. And so, you know, depending on what so depending on what density they're residing in, will give you the information of, like, are they service to self or service to others, or, you know, are they polarized or not? Yeah. Okay, how do you cut off the communication if it's low vibe? Well, you raise your vibration, and you can do this just simply by thinking it, like by imagining your cells vibrating faster and higher, because it just takes thought to do this. And you are only going to attract what you are vibrating at. And same with people, right?
Right. Totally. Totally. James said, I read they were service to self group. Yeah.
Well,
still learning. Right.
There are some races within the Orion system that have that. Now, you can't say that the entire race is service to self, but maybe like the majority of them, you know, just like same with Earth humans. So there are some that still are polarized. And that's really the mechanism of polarization, though, what I've really come to understand is it is a mechanism of change, of evolution. And so if you think about even in our human lives, like if something bad happens to us or we have a negative experience with something, we have the opportunity to learn and grow from it, to evolve. And so same thing with dealing with these other groups. They're just simply there to be a mechanism of evolution.
And it's fascinating that there's layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. And again, why wouldn't there be? Look at the cosmos. How huge is that? Lee said he's here. Yes, was not expecting that to come in.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I have a question for you. And guys, we'll answer your questions and we'll have time for Q&A. And maybe Lisa could do a group card pull from one of her cards. Oh, before I do that, Michelle O'Connor, I'm so sorry. I saw O'Connor and it was just, you know, I immediately thought, oh, Dr. O'Connor's here. And I apologize, Michelle. And Michelle's just not the wife of Dr. She is Michelle O'Connor and she does so much more. So my question is, I once heard that there is, now correct me if I'm wrong, Arcturians?
Are you Arcturians?
Is it Arcturians? Is that that's where
that's one of my groups. That's the one that I channel. Yeah.
There isn't like King Arthur, Arcturians, right?
I have not heard of a group called
okay, because someone said that, oh, you're from there. I'm like, I am?
Oh.
I don't know what that is.
They probably meant Arcturians.
Okay. I have no idea. It was somebody back do you remember Healing Earth back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Healing Earth was on Lincoln and Sheffield, and then it moved to Ashland, and we're talking Chicago terms, guys. And one of the main people there, she's like, oh, her name was Bhavani, and she's like, oh, you're from there. I'm like, and I was so new to this, I'm like, okay, sure, I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, okay, got it. Hey, Sister Sledge, good to see you. Lee says it was neat, though. I've learned a lot through Lisa. Yes. Can you talk about the Pleiadians?
Yeah. So the Pleiadians, so they're most people when they think of the Pleiadians, they think of the Nordics. They're beautiful, very humanoid. They're the closest genetically to us in terms of they could pass for human, just gorgeous humans. And they are also multidimensional. So you have fifth dimensional Pleiadians all the way up to throughout all the dimensions. And so because they are residing at different levels, you know, there are some people that will experience maybe the fifth or sixth dimensional Pleiadians, which are going to have some different information than those that are residing in the higher realms that can see even more from a higher perspective and give more clarity on whatever a situation is. So some of the Pleiadians are definitely involved with Earth and trying to make sure that we don't kill ourselves off. And there are other groups that do that as well. So there are Pleiadians that are part of the Galactic Federation, but then there are also Pleiadians that reside much higher that are just a little more, they will channel through people. And it's really about personal experience rather than them landing on the White House lawn. And that's what a lot of people are wanting when it comes to alien connection, but it's really at right now until we have like full disclosure and we welcome them into Earth, it's really a personal connection that we can have with them. And so their energy is very different than, let's say, the Arcturians, and very different than the Mantis beings or the Zetas.
Love that. Now, I'm going to, Heidi has a question, but I want to ask you.
Okay. Oh, can I say one more thing?
Yeah,
so, and that's the main Pleiadian group that people think of, but there are other races that come from Pleiades, because Pleiades is, again, a constellation, lots of stars. And so mermaids, dolphins, whales, sharks, octopus, they all come from watery planets.
That's so fascinating.
From Sirius and from the Pleiades and other things like that. So, yeah.
Super cool. Let me find where you are. There you are, Heidi. My question would be like, so a lot of this, would you say a lot of this information that you receive, all downloaded, right? Like you're just like, boom, here it is.
So there's a
Okay.
combination. Yes, some of the information comes through me like that, and some of it has been through other people that I trust, their channeled information.
Sure.
Because
Got it.
there's just such vast information out there to be able to
Right.
download it. But I am, now that I have the ability to channel my Arcturians, I'm getting more and more information from them about their take on things from their perspective.
Yeah. And you guys, you don't want to follow somebody that's like cuckoo for the Cocoa Puffs. I mean, you really have to go from a reliable source. Heidi
Yeah.
says, have you ever felt hesitant or leery when meeting the ESG?
No, I have not. But okay, so my first conscious experience of interacting with any kind of higher dimensional being was when I was 15 and I was taken on a spacecraft. And I do write about this whole experience in my new book, Connection to the Cosmos. But I was taken in a craft, and the being, it was just a small shuttlecraft, and it was just me and one other person, or the guide. He looked very human, but then at the end of this journey with him, he did change form for me because I asked. And
Mm.
his energy was like, God, I like friendship, like I know you. I had been with him before, and Lee Michael, again in one of our sessions together, he actually pulled in my Io guide because I went to Io, one of the moons of Jupiter. That's where we went on this journey. And so he pulled him in to like kind of, we were getting more information about this. And it turns out I had been with them multiple times, like throughout my childhood, but I wasn't, a lot of these experiences people forget because either their memory, they want people to
Sure.
forget, or their ego makes them forget. But I was allowed to remember this experience, and I got it validated by a super high government official that knew about the different alien races on Earth, which makes, like, for me, that was huge because that actually planted the seed for the work that I do now as a galactic ambassador. And so, but the groups that I have met and worked with, I have never had any kind of fear. And most of the people that have a fear response are having fear of the unknown. It's not necessarily that the being that they might be interacting with is like a bad one or a negative one. It's just that it might look different, or, people are afraid of what they don't know.
And think about us in human form, everybody.
Yeah.
Think about the same thing. People are quick to judge
Yeah.
because they're not asking the questions they need to ask, right? Um, let's see, where are we going? Sylvie wants to know, what about the dragons?
I love dragons. I'm a dragon keeper. So there are water dragons, there are fire dragons, there are all the elemental dragons. So yes, they exist in different dimensions and realities. And I dragon people are really like strong people. It, Dragon energy is all about self power. At least the fire dragons
Fascinating.
are. And so I live on the big island of Hawaii. We have Kilauea, the most active volcano, and Kilauea is where a lot of my fire dragons reside in a different dimension.
I love that. I love that. Amber says, what's the coolest thing you've learned about their topography or culture?
Well, so it is really interesting when you look at these different dimensions because, okay, so fifth dimension would be things like fairies and some of the lower vibration of the higher dimensional beings of the ET alien groups. They still have a physicality to them, but they vibrate at a higher rate than we do, so they appear invisible to us unless we raise our vibration and can pierce through that veil. Um, and they have individuality, but they are still part of a collective consciousness. Now, the higher vibration that these entities get, the less physical they become. So they become more energy bodies, and they become more one mind rather than individual mind. And so I think for me, that's the most interesting thing, because here, again, here on Earth, we are moving from third, fourth dimension to fifth dimension when people talk about the 5D awakening. And that really is unity consciousness. We have to be on the same page. We got to stop being at war with each other. And so, and fifth dimension, as soon as you hit that realm, that's where instant manifestation happens as well. So I think it's more about, there are a vast number of entities, races, whatever you want to call them, living in different dimensions, living on different planets and different galaxies, even in different universes, because this is all a multiverse. And we are all of them. And we are just having this one Earth expression that we're aware of right now. But in the work that I do with past life regression, but I call it parallel life, actually, parallel life, because we're living these lives simultaneously. And so we can tap into understanding these other worlds. We can travel there and figure out what it is.
And that's fascinating. And when I say this with my heart. It's fascinating. And I understand the concept. This can't wrap, you know what I mean? It's like, yes, I agree with you. Yes, I understand it. I'm just like, whoop, it's like, okay, I get it. Just like, I guess back in the day when people are like, oh, the Earth is flat. No, it's round. No, it's flat. I mean, I understand that things are happening on different levels. And maybe that's something I should do. Now you just made me think about that. Maybe that's something that I could go to in a meditation and say, take me there so I can understand. Oh, good one. Yeah. Thanks, Lisa. Yeah. Sylvie says, awesome. Yes, I want to connect with them on my last trip. Well, you should go to Hawaii. Like you said, can't wait to go to Hawaii to meet the dragons. Take one of Lisa's retreats. That would be awesome.
So I have my Sacred Soul Kona retreat in the spring in April, which is 6 women total. But I also, my Galactic retreat, which really dives deep into this. The date is now going to be announced sometime for 2023. I was going to do it this fall, but I had some things happen where I couldn't do that. But I will have a Galactic retreat that's a co-ed retreat as well.
That would be fun. That would be cool.
That info's on my website.
Okay, let me know, because as long as it's not when I'm in Ecuador, I'm good. I'm good. Carla said, should we be connecting with them, or do they come to you? Good question, Carla.
So, I mean, one of the things that I love, the work that I do, is I love teaching people how they connect directly. Yeah. I don't need to be the go-between. Just like, kind of like at church, we don't necessarily need church to connect to source, right? I teach you how to connect with them directly and experience them directly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Delora, who wants to take all your inflatable aliens, has Hollywood got? I'm telling you, she's flying to. She's buying her ticket now. Everyone, don't be fooled. Delora's a go-getter. Has any, I love you, Delora. Has Hollywood gotten anything right about aliens?
Okay, well, so the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind that Steven Spielberg created back in the 70s, that is supposed to be based on a true story. And it was a very lovely thing at the end. That happens.
Right.
Right. The movie Contact with Jodie Foster, that is pretty close to a reality. Yeah. Avatar, those beings, very close. Trying to think. Well, okay, Star Wars and Star Trek, yes, those are based on real things.
Right. That's what I thought too. That's what I was thinking too.
Star Wars is based on the Orion Wars that happened. I mean, again, it's parallel, but it's past, long time ago. Orion has healed. So contemporary Orion has healed their polarity. They are integrated the way that we on Earth are coming to be integrated. But, the Dark Empire was part of that. And even the Black League, who were the Jedi in Star Wars, they were real. So, yeah. So for me, it's fascinating, and there really are, you know, galactic federations and things like that, like in Star Trek, where they're traveling around and they are not supposed to directly interfere with.
My mom was ahead of her time. She used to say, she's like back in her day, because my mom was born 1919, and she said, you know, we grew up watching Flash Gordon, and she said it's just fascinating that, you know, men can travel to the moon. And I said, Mom, do you believe that there's other beings out there? And she said, yes, which I wouldn't expect her to say. And I said, how can you say that? And she's like, well, do you remember, we always called him Pete the Handyman. He was also a farmer, but he had a house 2 doors down and across the street from us. She said, back in the day, he was gone for 2 weeks, and we wondered where he was. And he came back, and he was a smart man. And he came back and he said, oh, yes, they took me up into the sky. They took me there. And my mom didn't think he was crazy, but she's like, okay. You know, she knew that he didn't, I mean, he was no nervous breakdown, nothing. It was just a matter of fact. Then he went about his day in chores. So I just think that's fascinating. Heidi has another question. What does it mean if you capture fairies or beings on film, but not in person?
Okay, well, cameras, digital cameras and our phone cameras, they have no judgment like we do. And so they are able to capture things like orbs, ghost energy, fairies, higher dimensional beings in a way because there is no filter, if that makes sense.
Right. So true. Nita says this makes so much sense. How sad then must be for us and what we're doing. I get it. Hey, Dorothy.
They really, like, there are so many different races that really want to help us because we have up to 22 different alien races in our DNA. And even when they sequenced the human genome, they found places where it looked like it was spliced, like a genetic modification, which shouldn't happen. Everything should be really smooth, but they found kinks and you know, where it really did look like that. And there are different people that have really studied that and gotten downloads, gotten channeled information about that. Some people say 13, some 22. The information, what's really interesting is I have a very clear memory of ancient Egypt. And I wasn't an Egyptian. I was actually one of the Syrian genetic engineers coming to modify the human body to allow it to have more energy. And so, you know, having that memory, that life, that it's a parallel life. I'm going to be expanding on that more, I think, in my upcoming books on these different parallel lives with who these beings are, what they're doing. But, you know, the mantis beings, they are master geneticists. The Syrians are master geneticists. And so, so we are their family.
Super cool. Yeah. Super cool. Emmy wants to know, do people enter into the fifth dimension one at a time or in a group?
Well, that's a really good question because both. The Mayan civilization, they are said to have ascended as a collective consciousness. And they were directly connected to the Syrians, the same ones that the Egyptians and the Dogon tribe in Africa were connected to. And the information that Lisa Roya Holt has said about the Mayans specifically that she has channeled is that they came in directly from Sirius, like they incarnated directly into this Mayan reality to then be able to ascend and shift the entire consciousness. Now, right now, Earthlings, Earth humans, you know, there are people that are already shifted to fifth dimension. And some of us are here trying to help be the light to help with that transition. Right. So we've kind of volunteered to stay back and not be the first wave to do that shift. Yeah.
Awesome. Lisa Randall. So, like Men in Black, what do you think?
Well, so, yeah, the Men in Black, not like the movie, but yes, there is a group that are more of that lower vibe, that they don't want the information out that these beings exist and that we actually are in control of our own lives. All of us, whether you think you're in control or not, you have full control. You just have to take your power back. And you have to learn to trust yourself. And so they have these fear tactics of scaring people into not speaking out. But the more people are experiencing it for themselves, that they're sharing it, it's becoming more mainstream, slow disclosure is happening, the less of that is actually happening. So that was more, I think, back in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Jerry says, is there always a loss of time when you visit?
I would say no, not necessarily. I mean, some people experience like time sped up. So, and some lost times, like time got really, really slow. So I think everyone's experience is a little bit different with that. And it depends on which group might be, interacting with you. But a lot of the interactions happen in our dream state, not in a physical reality like this.
And Beth just said this, so go ahead.
Yeah, how do you know if it's real experience or just a vivid dream? Okay. You will know it in your body. If you ask yourself and you learn, if you know how to trust the answers that you get, you will know for sure if it's a dream or if it's a real experience. Dreams, we typically forget the details of within 10 minutes of waking up. Real experiences, we remember the details of what is going on. And when I had that experience being taken when I was 15, when I came back, I did think it was a dream. I was like, that's the weirdest dream I've ever had. And it wasn't scary at all. Again, it was a beautiful experience. And so for months, I thought it was a dream. And then I was reading Whitley Strieber's book, Communion. So this is back in 1988 when I was taken on the craft. And I was reading Whitley Strieber's book, Communion. And at the very end, he is interviewing all different people that had being taken by the Greys. That was his experience. And there are different races of Greys. They're not all the same. But there's one guy that had a different experience than everyone else. And his story was my story. He said, I was taken to a moon of Jupiter. I was told I was one of the chosen ones. And then Whitley made a side comment saying, well, I hope it isn't Io. And as soon as I read that, I had head to toe chills, tears coming down my eyes. So for me, that was my body's way of being like, oh, that was real. That was not a dream. Yeah. So I told my mom. And then fortunately, again, in our school at that time, we had government and CIA people that originally infiltrated the school to find out what we were learning, because we were learning some stuff they didn't want us to learn about, like remote telepathy. But so one of these guys that was at the school was one of these super high government people that knew about the different alien races that the government works with. And so my mom introduced me. I told him my story, and he didn't know this group. No one has ever come forward with my specific group that I was with, with the description of them and all the different people that describe the races. Because we have up to 160 different races now that have been fully described and illustrated. But he said, you had a real experience. He said, I don't know that group, but your experience was real. So I got the validation again.
Love it. And Gail says, Lisa's book is so interesting. Get it. She explains as well.
Yeah. Gigi's one of my advanced readers. So yes.
I love it. Hi, Jackie. What if you wake up and question why you are still in this realm?
Still in which realm? Earth realm?
Earth realm, I'm probably guessing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so Jackie, can you clarify?
Okay. Yeah. Can you elaborate a little bit, honey? Thank you.
Yeah.
Sherry says, so you consider lucid dreaming contact experience? Yes.
Absolutely. Astral travel, lucid dreaming. Absolutely. We cannot make up stuff in our minds that didn't happen. Right. So if there's something that you can see and feel and experience, our mind doesn't know the difference when our eyes are closed versus awake. It's real. Yeah. Okay. So is Jackie saying yes, ma'am, for Earth? So
yes,
I'll
ma'am,
answer
for
that.
Earth.
Because some people
Yes.
are like, yeah, why can't they just take me and I could just go? Well, we all signed up here to be on Earth School for whatever reason. We all have different purposes for being here. And so, you know, until that contract is finished, then we're going to keep coming back here to Earth in this reality.
Jerry says, do you ever have a longing to go back?
Well, I get to connect whenever I want, actually. And so I know that I do a lot of traveling in my dream state, and they come visit me all the time in my dreams. I have a busy life when I'm asleep. When Lisa's brain, when Lisa goes to sleep, my higher self has a lot of work it's doing. And so I don't have a longing to go back to Io per se, but I do like the connection that I have with my Arcturians, and I know what my role is there in Arcturus to feed. I'm a healer, but the Arcturians don't need to heal themselves because they're higher dimensional and they don't get sick. But that healing power I send to me here to heal myself and also to help in the aid of healing of other people through the work that I do. But I also, now that I'm channeling them, like I'm connecting regularly, and I'm also up looking at the sky almost every night with my night vision goggles and leading people through these meditative journeys to meet their galactic family and guides on our tours. And so I feel like I'm there a lot.
Yeah. Jackie said, yes, I knew I'd been someplace. Thank you for your response. Thank you. Hi, April Johnson. Long time no see, my friend. Dolores says, it sounds like an exchange program where all the different races send a representative to learn on Earth with and about the other groups.
Well, so some of them do that. Some of them are observers, kind of scientists, like just observing. Some are interacting in a way like the Zetas. There are some Earth humans that have a soul contract with the Zetas to create a hybrid race, an advanced hybrid race that's more evolved than the Zetas and the humans, that Zetas can reincarnate into and Earth humans can reincarnate into. And so when people have this experience of like, okay, I know my sperm was taken, or I know my eggs were taken, or they had the baby, but then the baby disappeared from the womb for no explanation, there can be a lot of fear around that. But when they actually understand, like especially in a deep regression, when they get to the real underlying meaning of that, oh, I signed up for that and this is why, then the fear gets taken away. You know, again, it's fear of the unknown that really keeps us stuck. And so I have several friends that have hybrid children. Some of them have met their hybrid children, and it's a beautiful experience.
So we're going to talk about past life for a moment.
Okay.
So I can look at, a retreat attendees, or I could look at people taking my past life class or something, and I can look and go, okay, this one was there, this one was there, this one was there. Can you do the same thing when it comes to galactic imprint? That makes sense?
I am not a psychic medium in that way, but I can help people access that information for themselves through regression. And part of it too, though, is that because we are everything. We have been everything. We have lived everything, because all timelines exist simultaneously at the quantum realm, and we are all source. We all come from source. So we may not have the memory of those different lifetimes, but we are all connected and can tap into that. And so even though like right now I say, okay, my Arcturian family, well, I also have my Sirian family, my Mantis family, my Pleiadian family, my Andromedans, like I'm all of it. And so is everyone here. Everyone
makes sense.
Has had experiences in all these different realms. So it's like, what do you resonate with most?
Right. So if somebody wanted to book a session with you to have this regression, that's how they would do it. Is that correct?
Yeah. that's probably the easiest way, and I can do it remotely over Zoom. Or for those of you that want to come
to Hawaii,
even better.
Or and if Delora goes to Hawaii, you might get an inflatable.
Yeah. Exactly.
Pat Johnson says, I'm really resonating with what you're saying. I started channeling the star people before I knew who they were. When I read about humans performing experiments on aliens, I literally cried deeply.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one thing about that we need to keep in mind, whether it's us as our Earth incarnation, or it's animals, or it's other beings, is that we all sign up for whatever it is before we come into this life. And so, there's a lot of people have problems with animals in captivity, like at zoos or aquariums or SeaWorld or things like that. But even like as a zoologist, as a marine biologist, as an energy like feeler and healer, those animals came in to be teachers. And everything has a purpose from my understanding.
Right.
I've been studying and immersing myself in this stuff heavily since I was 13. But again, I've been like my whole life, I've been in this metaphysical world. And I'm turning 50 this year. So got a lot of years of thinking about
it. You get your AARP card.
Ooh.
It's exciting.
Right.
Yeah.
And then coming at it from a scientific perspective, mainstream, but then also like I've read like 50 quantum mechanics books and other kinds of books. So really, when we think about it from the new science, it makes more sense.
And that's what I found fascinating. Like when we were in massage school and when I was learning before I was teaching, obviously, massage, quantum touch just was fascinating to me. I couldn't believe that somebody with this background could help scoliosis. We saw it on film. It was mind-blowing, and how, the body can heal. And I now understand putting all these pieces together. Lisa, thank you so much. So cool. So real quick, and then we'll, if you could pick a card for us, that would be great. What are your feelings about Area 51?
So Area 51 was a real thing. They've relocated likely. There are different areas that are very similar to Area 51 where, yes, reverse engineering has been going on since the crashes in the 40s. Bob Lazar, he came out as a whistleblowing scientist who was working on those reverse engineering projects. So yes, there is a lot of secret government and military industrial complex stuff going on that we're never going to know about, the black budget stuff. And so some of the craft that people see are, different government craft. Some of them that they see are real visitors that are able to lower their vibration to show up physically into our dimension. Now, a lot of them have a hard time staying in our dimension because third density is so slow and it's so heavy, and they don't like being here for a long time. Now, the ones that just reside there naturally, they can come in and out, no problem. Yeah.
James is saying, I'm kicking myself for agreeing to my contract, making it so hard for me to learn and separate from standard Western Christian upbringing that this is all taboo. You know what? Here's the thing, James. Think about this. That was your contract that you agreed. So maybe now you're learning to then maybe teach from where you were to talk about where you went to.
Exactly.
Fascinating. Show everybody the book again. Okay. So they know it's coming out in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So Connection to the Cosmos, Remembering Your Galactic Heritage and Embracing Your Oneness. And so it officially launches on Amazon August 30th. So 2 weeks from yesterday. And I will have a 5-day window that week where if you want to read it on Kindle, you get a really good deal, or you can buy the paperback for only $18. It's also available on my website, where if you want a signed copy, then get it on my website, since I can't sign them from Amazon.
Awesome.
Yep. And then we have my Connection to the Cosmos Oracle deck, which it's a standalone, or you can use it in conjunction with the book. So I took different concepts from the book to put into the deck. And so the book is really, the first section is my stories, my experiences, like showing people who I am. And I do that to help validate their own personal experiences that they've had. And I've had so many people, even just through my blog writings, be like, thank you for being vulnerable and being willing to share, because now I feel normal. Like I'm not weird. And like it, you know, and then I have information just to talk about the terminologies of density and dimensions and, you know, all of that. I talk about some of the different races and how the humanoid form evolved through the galaxy, because that is fascinating, and kind of how we got these different DNA spliced in. And then the final section are practical tools and techniques that I have learned throughout my life in learning how to enhance the clairs, telepathy, remote viewing, journeys to call them in, learning how to vector them in, and meeting your family. So
love it.
So the cards
Diane's,
are practical.
she says, I have that deck. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Diane.
Believe it's Delora. Does a signed book come with a tiny inflatable alien?
I wish I could do that. I do have tiny inflatable aliens, though, Dolores. So maybe we could. You contact me directly, and I've got purple, green, and blue. I sell them at the markets, and I give them to the kids on the tours. Oh my God, little kids, they love the blow up aliens more than their parents do, because the parents are like, ooh, aliens, but the kids, they're embracing them, which I think is beautiful.
If you gave Delora a bubble wand with an alien, I think she'd be really happy.
Okay, well, this is, what do I know?
One last question.
What do I know about the Lemurians? Well, I live here on part of the lost continent of Lemuria here in Hawaii. And I do have experience at least one lifetime in Lemuria. Like I'm very connected with Lemuria. And so Lemuria was a continent that spanned from Easter Island to Hawaii, down through the Neges, down to New Zealand. Highly spiritual. The original teachers from the stars were actually the Arcturians. Most people don't know that. They just think about the Pleiadian connection. So the Arcturians, at some point, they were like, okay, no, we're not doing this. The Pleiadians then came and were really teaching the Lemurian people their spiritual concepts. So there was less technology, more spirituality. That's really what they were focused on. And they started culturally way before Atlantis ever started, but then they were contemporaries of Atlantis. And so some of the Lemurian people, when the continent was sinking, they went into inner earth. The high priests and priests of Atlantis went into inner earth. We have reptilians that went into inner earth. And so we have now a beautiful society that lives inside there.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
So hopefully that answers.
No, that's awesome. Awesome. So Lisa's going to do a card pull for all of us, you guys. And Priscilla, if you're still here, can you pop up Lisa's website one more time? That'd be great. Oh, look at this. Heidi says, I was born in Mount Shasta, and the folklore is that they live in the mountain.
Okay, well, there's a major city under Mount Shasta called Talos. So yeah, inner earth beings, they live throughout the earth, but there are different hotspots of like cities, activities. So under the Aegean Sea is another city, and they're all connected by tunnels, but they're all fifth dimension and higher.
And guys, if you're interested in the retreat in 2024, when we're going to do Honoring Your Inner God and Goddess, which is going to be in Greece, where there's a special energy place between the islands in the Aegean Sea that we're going to go to. So I'll let you know all about that. And the beautiful necklace that Lisa's wearing is from Mount Shasta, you said, correct?
Yeah, so this is an Andara crystal, which is kind of an alien energy crystal. And this one is supposed to be from Mount Shasta. There are only a few places in the world where Andaras are cultivated.
I love it. I love it. All right. All you, girl.
Okay. Well, so, this, of course, the cards never lie. The card that wanted to be pulled today is Dream State, which we did spend time talking about. And so I'll read what the booklet says, but really it's tapping in. Your dreams are real. Dream State arrives to request a dream visitation. Most interactions with extraterrestrial beings occur during dream state, whether it is daydreaming, alpha, just before sleep, theta, or deep sleep, delta. What you experience in your dreams is real. The mind does not know the difference between when your eyes are open or closed. And I did say that earlier. So the practice that goes with this card is before you go to bed at night, take time to call in a visitation while you sleep. You could ask for specific healing. You can ask for something definitive, which will let you know you were with other dimensional beings. Be sure to journal your dreams when you wake up in the morning right away. Do this regularly and observe if there is a pattern of communication, including symbols or images you experience. And then the affirmation that goes with this: I call in visitation during my dream state and remember my dreams vividly. So that is really how you connect, how you ask for it.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And again, guys, Lisa's website is here. Contact her. Make sure, go and get the book, you guys. Go and get the book. It is just, amazing. And what I love about Lisa's background is it's not just the woo-woo. There's a science to this. It's blending these two together, which is amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I'd love to have you come back because I'm sure everybody has more questions. So, maybe we'll come back for, if you're not doing anything in December, we'll come back for Celebrate. And we could talk about celebration of our galactic awareness. I don't know where this is coming from, but, that'll be something cool. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. And everyone's saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi, Gabriella. This is great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So, guys, as a reminder, next Wednesday, come and see, and you remember her, Lisa, Gina Hatsis.
Yes.
And Gina she's a kick-ass lady, you guys. She had her one video, 50 million views on YouTube within 24 hours. Crazy. That's how she got, and talking about Too Much Woman. And we're going to talk about celebrating and communicating self. I said celebrating, but it's about communicating. And then the following Wednesday, come and see my friend Laura Stasanis, who also created her own oracle deck, Sacred Attunement Oracle. And look at these, Lisa.
Oh, beautiful.
And these are all her, oops, we'll go this way, sorry. I mean, just super cool.
Yeah.
And what she did is, that is her handwriting.
Oh, wow. Okay. So she created her own font?
Her own font, her own, she wanted, so I was like, all right, right on. And so she's going to talk about communication with oracle cards. So we got a lot going on, guys. Lisa, can you hang on for a second?
Yeah.
So everyone, follow. And I want to thank you, as always. We are here to connect. And when we connect, we educate. And when we educate, we grow. There is unity in community. There are still open spots for deepening your psychic senses on the 20th. And remember, Soul Chat on the 21st. If you have any questions, go to eliaspatras.com. Look at all the events and the appearances. If you scroll all the way down, you'll see everything that's happening. Thanks, everyone. From my heart and our heart to yours. Be well, everybody. Thanks so much.